Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Somos Mas, the official podcast of Somos Mas NM, and your source for the latest news and notes on New Mexico United and the New Mexico Runners. My name, of course, is Seth Bidoff. Joining me this evening, the one,
care,
the
just care.
Absolutely, right. We care. We care enough that Jacob Terrell is here with us this evening. And Jacob, we haven't done this in a minute. And we certainly have a lot to get to this evening.
I don't know what we're doing.
We've got a lot to get to. We've got injury news, we've got wins, we've got matches upcoming, we got league news, we got all sorts of stuff going on. So hopefully we get some folks in the chat tonight that can help us talk about some of these topics later on. But I do have a burning question. I'd hoped to do this while we had a fuller house this evening. But Earl will not be with us this evening. Obviously, because first of all, congratulations to Earl. For those of you that don't know, new baby Somos Mas is here. Earl and Marlena welcomed their newborn on Friday. Beautiful baby girl. Earl had planned on joining us this evening to show her off a bit, so we'll save some of that for when Earl can return and be with us and share her out to the United Nation. But what I wanted to do is I have a burning question. I have not done this in a while. So my one burning question this week, and Jacob, this may be a bit of a moot point since you get to carry a gun at work, but but the question is, what is the most anti-OSHA thing you've done at a job?
Oh God! Oh no! Oh no! Put a ladder on top of either two things involving ladders. Either putting a ladder on top of a playground jungle gym to reach a canopy above said jungle gym.
Okay.
Or putting a ladder on top of a boat while it was in the garage to reach the garage door mechanism at the top. One of those two things.
All right. And Christina has joined us again. Welcome in, Christina. We're glad to have you again with us here this week. Hopefully you heard the burning question. Same to you. What's the most OSHA unfriendly thing you've done at work?
Yeah, I caught that. Well, I work with kids in the healthcare setting, so I definitely have to be extra careful to not be breaking those OSHA guidelines.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like it's along the same lines as Jacob in the office, standing on a swivel chair to reach something up high. I'm sure. I'm only 5'2", so I probably do that more often than I should.
Okay, fair enough.
Seth probably feels your pain there. He's like 5'1", right?
Somewhere in there, give or take whatever day it is. So, Mugdaf, glad to see you back. It's been a minute. We're glad to have you back in the chat with us. The reason I asked this is I did a thing at work today, and I've worked in jobs in the past where I've been on ladders and trucks and climbing up shelving and things like that I shouldn't be doing.
I just want you to know, Seth, this is live right now,
yes.
So be careful. Just be careful.
Well, so I work in an office, and I made the mistake of locking my keys in my office today while I was getting ready to leave work for the day. Okay. Now when I leave, I'm generally one of the last people in the building. We do have one other person who tends to stay later, lock up the building, the gate, all that kind of stuff. I thought maybe this person would have a master key to all of the doors. That person does not. So now my options were either Uber,
break the window,
Uber to. That's a possibility. I do have windows in my office, so Uber to and from work for the next day and a half, or
expensive.
That would be quite expensive. Or stay in the office overnight. This would not be happening. Or the other option is try to find a way into my office. It just so happens that next door to my office is an empty office. In this office, I've been putting filing cabinets as I've been emptying them of their documents. Pretty much. My first attempt, I climbed up on the filing cabinets to remove the ceiling tiles, so I could climb up in the ceiling over the wall and into my office. Well, that wasn't tall enough. So I grabbed a chair out of another office, put the chair on top of said filing cabinets,
Yes.
Proceeded
Yes.
to climb back through.
That makes me look like child's play. Yeah, standing on one chair.
And then I removed the ceiling tile above my office and then dropped down into my office. So, yeah, it's
God, I want that on film. Can you recreate it tomorrow with somebody filming it, please?
I'll see what I can do. I'll see what I
Yes.
can do for you.
Yes.
Yeah, no, it was definitely threw a cog into my afternoon. So, um,
I got to address a couple things over here. First of all, Robert, you're right. Earl's not here. He's probably not going to be here for a few weeks, so you can skedaddle, and I'm not going to miss you. But where's your buddy Harry? Team Jacob has been absent from the chat, mainly because part of Team Jacob is on the show now, and Christina, and part of Team Jacob, I think he's depressed because of the San Antonio season. Christian, welcome back. Good to see you on here. And Justin, I'm not the hot take guy. Usually that's Earl. I think my takes are pretty, I don't know. They're not cold. They're a little spicy, but I think they're pretty accurate. And we'll get to one of them, which I'm baffled by here in a little bit.
I'm getting yelled at by my girlfriend because I did not
Yes.
share with her exactly how I got into that. I did tell her I went through the ceiling.
Nice.
So no, I was going to share that. That's a whole story. So that's the whole point of the story here. To share that and get a laugh out of some folks because we did get some bad news over the weekend. Christina pointed out to us on Sunday morning that an injury had been reported via Ken over at the Journal, and the word was that Dayon Harris had suffered an ACL tear and would be out for the rest of the season. Now, at the time that this had been reported in the Journal, there had been no other confirmation from the club or any other outlet. I reached out to the club to get confirmation of this. And I was under the impression that, number one, the information was not supposed to be out yet. We did ultimately find out that Ken's reporting was accurate as always. But if you read the article, there was no direct quote other than Coach Gould saying basically it was a bad injury and that they hated to lose him. So a big loss for United. Dayon had been a dynamic player for us in his time on the pitch this season. Let me ask you guys real quick. This is our second ACL injury of the year. There were some comments over on social media talking about, I saw one in particular, it was over in the Discord actually, talking about how poor the training facilities were, how the club needs to do better, all this kind of stuff. Now, I know that Jacob and I have been there. Mm-hmm. Christina, I don't know if you've been out to the training facility, but in my opinion, the training facility is in pretty damn good shape. And to blame it on that, to me, is a bit uncalled for because we know how much care the club has put into the training facilities. We all know that ACL injuries can be non-contact injuries. We saw it with Ronald Acuna Jr. We saw it Josef Martinez. We saw it with Christian Nava. We saw it, we don't know if Dayon's was a contact injury or not. Armando Moreno's was a non-contact injury. So, we've seen these things happen. What was your initial reaction to the news? And, obviously, if United wasn't in the market already, they've got to be in the market now, right? Christina, let's start with you.
Oh, I was bummed. Dayon's been one of my favorite additions to the squad. I feel like he's been really similar in terms of, his like Bruce in terms of his level of hustle. He's got amazing speed. He brought great energy. Just, I think his personality, his vibe just seemed really fun. Really, really hoping he comes back stronger and sticks with us. It'd be pretty cool to see him and Nava play together. That would be pretty neat. I was a little surprised. I saw the same comments about the practice pitch, and that wasn't the first thing that came to mind. I did wonder fatigue is that a factor? What is the training dynamics looking like? You always got to wonder about that. I know that there's been, I, I remember last year a certain wife complaining about that. But we're under a new manager, and so I'd like to think that the training regimen is taken care of. And it's like you said, Seth. It's a physical game, and they were coming off of 2 losses, so I imagine they were training pretty hard and putting everything out there on the training pitch. And we don't know how it happened, but I know I'm going to miss him a lot.
I'd be curious to see if it was the same leg that he had the ankle injury after the Birmingham match. A lot of times those things are connected. And so I'd be curious if that was the case. But yeah, you guys basically touched on it as far as the injury itself. It sucks. I don't think it's the pitch's fault whatsoever. And all we can do now is hope that he has a good recovery, a solid recovery, come back stronger. Hopefully, sometimes, well, like we saw it with Amondo. He came back the next year, didn't look the same. We saw it with Christian this year. He came back, re-injured it, out again. So it's definitely an injury that you have to take care of, need to be gentle with. So happening this late in the season doesn't necessarily bode well for next year either. But nonetheless, we'll stand by him. We'll stand behind him. We'll support him and hope that he comes back. It definitely, to me, says, okay, like we were already a little thin in the attacking portion, mainly at the 9, but kind of all around. It was great to see Harry back in the lineup to kind of mitigate that loss a little bit, but kind of tired of having one guy injured and then he comes back and another guy goes down and he comes back and another guy goes down. So wouldn't mind seeing another name up top that can maybe play. We've seen Hurst play a little bit out on the wing lately when he plays with Bruce. So that's something we might see a little bit more until we get another signing in, but it does suck. From a media perspective, very curious to see what happened with Ken and him being able to break that without the club having already put it out there. I don't think either. I know Ken. I talk to Ken every match that I'm there. Nothing malicious was going on there. Probably just a miscommunication, but still curious to see kind of how that all went down. But it was a great article. Sad news. And we move on.
Yeah, that we do. Despite the news coming out early Sunday morning, United still had a match to play. And again, this time we went east of the Mississippi slightly. There's always a concern when we travel that far away. But, I will say I was happy. I mentioned it last week. It's not at Lucas Oil Stadium anymore. So thankfully that's not a thing. But
once it was on turf.
Yeah, still was on turf. And we will get to that because there were a lot of comments about the turf. But again, a tale of two halves. Me personally watching this, again, we come out in the first half. I don't think we were as uninterested or unenergetic as we had been in previous matches. But I think we lacked a lot of precision. We lacked a lot of decisive actions. And you could see it in the number of turnovers. You could see it in how we failed to get forward. You could see it in the inconsistent touches, particularly on this turf. What is it? What is it that is making us come out and do this in the first half? And why is it taking us so long to get into it?
Yeah, we keep coming out flat. And I think I saw, maybe it was USL, maybe Nicholas Murray talked about that we're leading in having to get a result, chasing a result. So that seems to be our MO. I don't know why we come out so flat off the bat.
I'll take a stab at this particular match. It involves possibly the hot take Justin was talking about. The one and only Sergio Rivas, who somehow, some way, gets Team of the Week honors in what I believe to be the definition of. I didn't watch the match, but I looked at the stats, and he had a goal, and he was like 2 for 2 on some challenges. Was absolutely atrocious in the first half, so much so that you hear Quill yelling directly at him that he's too slow and he needs to go. And that play in particular was he gets the ball like right at the edge of our own third and has room in front of him to push it forward, and instead decides to dribble sideways and then pass it backwards. Much like I wish Earl was here, because he would definitely throw out some comparison, or he would like the comparisons I'm about to throw out. And I know somebody mentioned it in the chat. I won't throw them under the bus unless they want to be named, but somebody mentioned Jog 2.0, which is in reference to Juan Pablo Guzman. Sam Hamilton, more recently after Guzman left. It was just the player that I was sitting there screaming at the TV to do so. Like, you know, that Family Guy meme with the stick, and he's like poking him with the stick, and he's like, come on, do something.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was doing to Sergio all freaking match. And so for him to get Team of the Week, I have no idea what the hell that is, but that's neither here nor there. Every time he would touch the ball, and he was involved a lot in the first half, he was not doing anything with it. And I personally think that has a trickle-down effect to where when he's a second slow, and thank you, Justin. I didn't think it was a hot take either. When he gets the ball and he's a tick slow with it, and then he does get it to the right position, but it's a tick slow, then now Akale or Swartz or Bruce or whoever he passes it to, he can't make the right play because he's already a second slow. So then he's got to hold it up and figure out what's going to develop, and then have to end up passing it back. And it just, all in all, it was just sloppy. I think the turf monster had something to do with it, but most of the club seemed to figure that out at some point in the match. And even after Rivas scores in the second half, there's a point where he tries a little back heel for no fucking reason in the middle of the pitch that leads to a turnover when we have the lead and there is acres of space in front of him to dribble into.
Mm-hmm.
Man, it was...
Even the announcers were like,
yeah.
What was that?
Yeah, I mean, it was... The first half was infuriating as a team. It wasn't the best effort. I think the goal was... It wasn't a result of like any really bad particular play from any one particular person or two particular people. It was just a nice ball to, I don't want to say his name because I don't remember exactly, and it's too close to some other words that I don't want to get in trouble. So it was a nice ball to him, and he finishes a really nice finish, in my opinion. And then we just couldn't get going. I felt like we didn't necessarily give up too much. They had a few chances. Another Earl staple of hate, Romario Williams, with just an atrocious attempt at a goal. Oh my gosh, I mentioned his name 3 times, and look,
had to say it.
Fucking shows that.
All right, we're gonna pause this here for just a second, folks. Earl, there he is. Earl has popped into the show.
She's sleeping, so we're not gonna be on for long.
Nice. How's dad life?
How's what?
How's dad life?
These white hairs were not there on Thursday, and now they're there. So,
Now, even more importantly, how are Marlena and the baby?
she's doing fine. She's right here next to us. Maya's already in bed, but Everything else is fine, I guess.
Lack of sleep a little bit.
Yep, lack of sleep.
Night before last, yes, we were up all night. Last night, this little terrorist gave us a night of sleep, so we're good.
Wow.
Good.
Yeah,
Good.
I was a terrorist.
No one tell him that doesn't last.
Yeah. No, we won't ruin it for him.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm
It
expecting to be up all
depends on
night
the
again.
kiddo. Maybe she'll just be a good sleeper from the get-go. My daughter, my firstborn, was a great sleeper from the get-go, and I thought it was me. Like, man, I got this down. And then I had my son, and I realized it had nothing to do with me. So hopefully she's a good sleeper, Earl.
Oh yeah, she sleeps all day. Like she's been doing this all day. Except like 20, 30 minutes here and there. But for the most part, this is what she does. And I'm all for it.
How's the black tar poops? Those are fun, right?
The black tar poops have officially went away for now.
Good.
They're now yellowish green, seedy, mustard looking. Fun.
Makes you want a sandwich, right? With some deli mustard on it, yeah. Some Jimmy
Yeah,
John's, maybe a little bit, yeah.
Whose voice don't you like? Is it Jacob's? I don't
Earl.
blame you.
Earl, you just missed me crapping on all the people that you love to crap on. And that's why I think you showed up, because I literally mentioned your name 3 times. And then all of a sudden you were there.
Yeah, I told you, say my name and I'll appear.
Marlena,
anyways,
I know you don't.
We got to get to bed.
Okay, Marlena, I know you don't want to be on camera. Just stick your arm in frame and give me a thumbs up or a thumb down on how Earl's doing. Good.
See?
That's what I like to see.
Early report card is good.
Good.
It better be. I've lost a bunch of sleep over this little thing.
Well, you guys go get some rest, especially since she's resting.
Well, no. Just wait, Earl. You're going to be the one that's getting a slightly more sleep than Marlena, so you better, be prepared to help.
And she's already acknowledged me, just so you guys know. She tries once in a while. She was just doing it, but she was doing one. So she acknowledges me.
I think she was telling you to hold on. Just like
no, that was earlier. She was doing this earlier, so that's towards me too. Huh. But anyways, you guys have fun. I'm getting to bed with the kiddo.
All right, Earl. Thanks for popping on. We'll see you guys. Thank you, Marlena.
Thanks, Marlena. Congratulations, guys.
Thanks.
All right. Well, there he is. Oop, no. There we go.
Sweet. So yeah,
I was gonna say, when Indy scored, we were just sort of whacking at the ball, trying to get it, and they were just passing circles around us.
They definitely looked more comfortable on that turf.
Yeah,
they should be. First of all,
yeah.
But no, it's a little concerning that it's 3 games now? No, almost more than I think it's got to be, because Birmingham we looked flat, El Paso we looked flat, Lou City we looked flat, Vegas we looked flat. So for this is now the 5th match in a row that we've looked flat in the first half, especially, and that is a little concerning. But I don't know about you guys. I almost missed the pod because I was going to be running through walls for Coach Eric Quill, because his halftime speech motivated the shit out of people, and it was a completely different second half.
I can't tell you how many times I think to myself, man, they need to hear Quill's speech at halftime. I mean, I don't know what he tells them, but he's definitely inspiring. Well, that passion. Is that what he's talking about in the little video thing that you sent us?
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
The quotes for me from it were, it's not tactics, just care.
Yeah.
And that's what it has seemed like in all the previous 4 matches, and then this one, is the intensity, the effort, the emotion and passion that we've seen. Oh, here's the miss. Whoop.
Yeah.
So Romario has not changed.
Nope. Yes, it was a lot of expletives, Justin. And so, yeah, he was really wanting that, which I think is what we all want most of the time, and what has led us to being in first place for I don't even know how many days now, and we finally see that in the second half.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate that it takes so long that for us to get going in some of these matches, particularly in these ones where, you're last week or 2 weeks ago now, you face two opponents at home, both of whom are playoff contenders, teams that you need to have that effort and have that drive against. And to not see that is a bit disappointing. And then here again, Indy sitting in fourth place in the East. They're a team that's going to be there in the playoffs. Like, yes, our road record is not phenomenal, but
It's not
this
bad,
is a team. No, it's not bad. But this is a team we should go on the road and play well against, and we shouldn't have to flip that switch in the middle of the game. But yeah, the clips of Quill at halftime obviously seem to do the trick, and here you see a little bit of interplay, and Harry Schwartz gets I believe it's his second goal of the season to get that going for United, and this was the first of 3 unanswered goals. And it just seems like from there, like United just unlocked, and it was just night and day.
It was, and I think Quill mentions it in the video of the halftime speech. Is go out there, get one, and then you'll feel more confident, and then you can start building up. And that's exactly what happens. We get that first one within 5-10 minutes of the first half starting on a great little back heel ball by Bruce, who, I mean, Bruce, we rave about him every day, but he definitely affected this match in the second half. He was all over the place in the first half, but he's a smaller guy. I don't know if you saw him standing next to who was he standing next to? It shows him walking next to, I think it was Chapman Page, and the size disparity is just comical. And so he was getting bodied a little bit in that first half, but then you just see him, he's just everywhere. He makes the right play, gets the back heel, doesn't get the assist because the defender gets a foot to it, and Schwartz actually takes it off of Chapman Page's foot before he finds the back of the net. And so doesn't get the assist there, but it's still a great play by him. You see that confidence, and then all of a sudden, the whole second half, we were in control from basically start to finish. Indy disappeared. I saw some of the Indy supporters were upset. They felt like they parked the bus, blah, blah, blah. I don't feel like they parked the bus. It's hard to believe that we would get 3 kind of counterattack opportunities, or at least 2 counterattack opportunities, and then that first goal wasn't really a counterattack, but if they parked the bus. And so I don't think that was the problem. I think we just kind of finally found our groove and dictated the style of play and kind of took it to them. And so, yeah, I think their best chance was probably right here, and it really wasn't super threatening, and the rest was all United the whole time.
Well, from the Indy perspective, they had a ton of chances in this. They really did, especially in the first half. And there were opportunities that this match we could have been down 3-0 at one point. But when you have guys like, probably, and when you have guys like Romario Williams, who, we talked about Romario a little bit last week. We know who Romario is. We know what he does. I think he only had 2 goals on the season coming in. I'll double check that here just to make sure.
Remember.
But he had a golden opportunity, and Indy's got to be kicking themselves in this one.
I think they got complacent. They dominated so fiercely in the first half that they came into the second half complacent, thinking they had it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it could be. Now, I mean, they've been very hit or miss in their matches lately. I mean, they had won 2 of 5, and in the 2 wins they've done great, but in the other matches, not really. So, double checking. Romario did, yeah. Romario had 2 goals coming in, so I was right on that. But Augie Williams looked dangerous. We managed to control him. Nylander, oh my good lord, like that. He had a couple great shots, and he was a rookie. He's a rookie.
Mhm.
So great match for him. But going back to Daniel Bruce and we'll get to Sergio Rivas here in just a minute. I mean, Brucey just seems to have an impact every time he's on the pitch, and he won't tell you that his size is a disadvantage just because of how hard he fights for every single ball. And Jacob, to your point of players getting kind of pushed around a bit, there was quite a bit of pushing around in that first half. We actually saw it kind of blow up into a kerfuffle in about the 27th minute. We saw 3 players get yellow cards. I mean, it's you kind of have to question, what was the referee watching in this match a little bit, because there were some things that were let go, and then you just see Brucey do what Brucey does, and that little back heel to Sergio. I'm not convinced he had a touch on it, but I want to point that out because I have no idea how Sergio stayed on side.
Well, I'm gonna tell you right now, he didn't. If that's a Bruce touch, which I'm not sure it is, it touches somebody.
Yeah,
it does touch somebody. You can see the path of the ball and the rotation of the ball change when it goes through the legs there. But I'm not convinced that it didn't come off of Chapman Page, or at least I think that's still Chapman Page at that point. I know he got subbed out. I don't remember exactly who that is on Bruce, but I'm pretty sure it's Chapman Page. And so I'm not convinced that it didn't come off him. And that's the only explanation to me, is that it had to have, unless I guess the AR could have missed the slight touch, because it is a very slight touch. And if he missed it, then that kind of explains why they didn't throw the offside flag up. And there's no definitive angle there, but he definitely wasn't in an onside position when that ball changes direction.
Yeah, I agree
at
with.
least from what I can see.
Yeah,
I agree with. Is it Christian?
Yeah,
I think it was a dummy.
Mhm.
I don't think he touched it.
Oh yeah, no, it absolutely was more of a dummy, because you could see him. He didn't appear to have any intent at all to play that ball. So if he got a touch to it, I don't know, but either way, Sergio was not on side. So,
but I'll take it, and we'll for the sake of this conversation, I'll say Chapman Page touched it and not Brucey, and that's why it wasn't called offside. And then Rivas, look, he had, was it Birmingham that he had 2 just basically sitters that he didn't even put on frame. Needless to say,
he put right at the keeper. It wasn't even on. It wasn't even.
One of them was at the keeper. One of them missed completely.
I think even with Vegas, he had a ball served to him on a platter and nothing.
Needless to say, I wasn't too confident when I realized who was bearing down on the keeper there. But he has like a little hesitation move, gets it to his left foot, finishes calmly. Hopefully that, I know I said even after that game, after he scored, there were still issues with him, but hopefully that gives him some confidence moving forward, and we can see one of the better versions of Rivas moving forward.
It seems like, with his goal, he had time. He had time to sort of hesitate or do like his little move and decide what he wanted to do. And I feel like when he started playing better, it's because Quill dropped him back further. So he had time. So he could kind of like weave in and out of people and sort of do his dribbling that he likes to do. It's when he doesn't have the time that he freezes, or it's like he doesn't want the ball and he wants to get rid of it.
I'm wondering if that hesitation move was like not a, how can I phrase it? It wasn't like I'm going to do this so I can get on the right foot and finish. It was oh shit, what do? I don't know what to do. And then it ended up working out. Cause that's kind of what it seemed like. In the moment, looking back, it looks like there might've been some purpose to it, but I don't know. Kelly, yes, he did make team of the week, much to my chagrin. I think that was Nicholas Murray and the other people over there at USL Championship going, hey, New Mexico won and they're 6 points ahead in the West. We should probably put one of their players on team of the week. Who should we do? And they're like, he was 2 for 2 on challenges and 3 for 3, or had 2 chances created and finished a shot. Maybe we should give it to him. And then they were like, oh, okay, cool. Did you watch the game? And everybody said no. And so they were like,
Sunday, they're trying to meet deadlines.
Yeah. I mean, it was It was only game on though. I don't know. That was insane to me that he gets in there. But yeah, I kind of agree, Justin. I prefer it when they ignore us too. Honestly, for being first in the West, 6 points up with a match at hand on Sacramento and 2 on Oakland, the 2 teams that are 6 points behind us, I feel pretty ignored because we've been number 1 or number 2 in the power rankings a few times, but they haven't really talked about us all that much. I mentioned it a couple weeks ago when I came with the numbers for Team of the Week, and we only had like 4 Team of the Week nods in 23 weeks or 21 weeks, whatever it was, as far as like actually on the team and on the bench. So definitely think we're a little slept on, maybe for good reason because we're not blowing teams out of the water. But hey, we get another 2-goal win, only like the 3rd one of the season. And so maybe that's why felt like they had to put us up there.
Maybe. And one thing that we have not mentioned yet on the Greg Hurst goal, the play by Jacobo Reyes.
Yeah, we hadn't got to the 3rd goal.
Yeah,
Yep.
Good Lord, that hold up play by Jacobo to keep that ball there, keep the defender, and then that small touch, and just that burst by Hursty to get through that back line, like just great timing, great play by Jacobo Reyes. I know he hasn't really had too many moments in the sun this season, at least not in terms of game impacting moments, I should say. But this one here, just great hold up play. That's what you want to see from your guys up top. You need to be able to hold the ball, especially when you're out ahead like that and you don't have help. So great decision by him. And that just, it was really fun to see the interplay in the second half and, walk away with a win on the road, 6 points clear, like you mentioned, Jacob, after Sacramento lost a hell of a game on Saturday, to lose City 4-3. It was just, it's good to see us, get some points from these matches in hand, especially after losing the 2 at home. It's maybe it builds us a little bit of confidence coming into this week against, Tulsa and Monterey Bay. But I mean, we've talked about Rivas making, Team of the Week. Who's your fan of the match?
I'm predictable. For me, it's Brucey. It's
That's
always
fair.
Brucey, though. I don't know.
I mean, that's fair. Brucey did a lot of good things Saturday or Sunday afternoon.
Brucey's, to me, there's 3 options. Well, there's probably more than that. Like, you got to shout out the back line because they did a hell of a job. Ryden and Maples back there did exactly what they needed to do. Like I said, the goal that Lou or Indy did get wasn't the result of any of their problems or anything like that. But when you don't get a shutout, I don't know. I can't give a man of the match to a defender when there's not a shutout. And so, thank you. Do you need some milk? There you go.
Yeah, I think Justin. I agree with Justin too. Harry, coming back after the concussion, he's Harry. He's always hustling. Putting everything out there, and it shows. And
that was that Bruce Swartz, and then I mean, you might as well just record it at this point, and then you can play it back every week. Nanan Hosu again everywhere. I predicted he was not going to play in this match after watching what happened last week, but he was there, and thank goodness, because he was all over the place, making a difference on both ends of the pitch. At the end of the day, I think I got to go Swartz. And why? Yeah. You have milk all over your face now.
Nanan's got to be careful, or he's walking a very fine line with some of his actions, and his accumulation totals are getting up there. So
he's, I think he's now at 1 away.
How are Micheletto's accumulation?
Let's see.
He probably only has like
Marco's got 5. Oh,
well, 5.
Nanan's only got 4.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I thought he was higher. Hurst has 7 now, so 1 more yellow for him, and he faces a suspension. So,
well, in his that yellow against at the very end of the match, where he made the keeper. Like that was still a yellow. Come on, Hursty.
Yeah, time wasting. Yeah, it was stuff
When
like
we're
that
up
is
3-1 and it was literally like the dying moments.
Yeah.
yeah, that stuff is kind of silly. But yeah, I thought Nanan was a little bit worse off than that. But he's fine. Marco just got fined. Tony's been fined. Yeah, I think Nanan just needs to be careful. After the play, last week, and then the kerfuffle this week. He's just. I think he's starting to ride that edge a little bit, and I think maybe emotions kind of get the best of some folks coming off of the losses. And just general frustration with how the match was being called from the center circle. So, but anyway you take it, United walks away with the win, 6 points up. 2 matches this week against 2 teams that are right on the cusp of the playoff line. FC Tulsa comes in first. They are sitting in 9th place on 26 points. And they've kind of surged up the table just a little bit. 2 wins out of 5, unbeaten in their last 5. They sit 1 point behind Monterey Bay, who is in 8th. And Jacob, I know you had some thoughts about this. I know there's some returning players. How do you think they get welcomed back this week?
The 2 in particular, there's really only 2, and I haven't looked if Tete has been playing a whole lot. I know he was starting for them a lot last year. He if he plays or if he's in the stadium, he will be welcomed back with a huge roar. I'm sure everybody was super sad when he left. The other player coming back has actually been captain for FC Tulsa lately. Also a center back, Alexi Swahi, who only had 1 season with us, and I thought he did fine, but he wasn't super great or super
Wasn't getting enough
atrocious
minutes.
And so
Yeah.
I think he might even almost be like, oh yeah, that guy did play for us, huh? So I'm not expecting too much there, but Tete is the one that I'm like super pumped about coming back. I hope he plays. I'm looking up right now if he's been playing or not.
730 minutes.
So I know he's
11
been
appearances.
He had been. I think he got injured. Doesn't look like he played last match. Was he on the bench? He was on the bench at least. So hopefully he's at least going to be here in town. I'd be happy with that. And if he doesn't play, I'm okay with that too, because then we don't have to break his heart by scoring on him.
There's one name that you did not mention. I'm surprised you only said 2, because there's a third name that is returning on tomorrow.
Who?
Justin Portillo.
No, Portillo doesn't play for them anymore. Portillo transferred to Sacramento.
When did that happen?
Like a month and a half ago?
What? I completely missed that news then.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he got transferred to Sacramento a while ago.
Huh. Because USL's got him as 20 matches played. So it wasn't that long ago. Huh. I completely missed that news.
Yeah, he switched to Sacramento. I feel like it was like a month ago.
Yeah, at least a month ago.
Huh.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was before we went to Vegas or before we went to LAFC.
Yeah.
Because he couldn't play against Seattle, but he was on the team when they played Seattle.
June 7th.
He couldn't play because he got moved. June what?
June 7th.
Oh shit, 2 months ago. So yeah. Been a while.
Yeah, it's just one. It's you can only pay so much attention to everybody, and then wow, I didn't even realize he had transferred.
Yeah, he and I don't know what happened there, because he was playing good minutes for Tulsa.
Yeah,
Tulsa got off to a weird start. They had fewer matches played than we did for a long time, even though we were lower than everybody else. I mean, they took forever to get going, and then they started off decent. I thought. I mean, it wasn't atrocious, but it wasn't great, and now they're just kind of there. I think they have plenty of matches in hand. They've got 2 to 3 matches in hand on everybody in front of them except for us. And they're right there at the 2 points behind 7th place, 5 points behind 6th place, and only 6 points behind a home playoff match. So they theoretically they could jump all the way into third or second, even third, actually, with those matches in hands that they have. And so, again,
they're definitely going to be coming in hungry for points,
yeah,
so that they
for
can
sure.
they can jump over that playoff line.
Kelly, that's a good point. I did not think of that. When Roro tore his ACL and went out for the
Okay.
season, that's when they acquired Portillo from Tulsa. Christian brings up a good point too. Tulsa had a late coaching change in the offseason. I would have thought Portillo would have moved before the season started if that was the case, but could have factored in after he got in and realized that this coach just wasn't for him. And so, yeah, bunch of things there. So yeah, that's why I just mentioned two, because there's only two. But those two are definitely two players that I was really happy with when they were here, and especially Tete. I mean, he was a huge fan favorite during his time here, so he's going to be welcomed back with open arms for sure.
Yeah,
I still see his. I think it's his wife at our matches.
Oh, really?
With the kiddos, yeah, I see them up in the club food area pretty often.
That's interesting.
Well, I think it just goes to show that, the way that this club builds, around the players and, cares for them and the families. I think it shows, folks, I know folks have questioned, why isn't Devin around? Why isn't Bees around? Why isn't, whatever. But, they're still around. They're just not public figures anymore.
Yeah.
So they're not, they're not showing up to the matches to be that, to take the attention off folks. Like, yes, we had Devin Sandoval night, 2 years ago now. But I mean, I'm sure eventually we'll have a Chris Weehan night or something, like when he finally, hangs him up, once he announces his retirement. But they're not out in front. They're not being public, but the club still cares. The club still, it involves them in things. And, I know that if the club went asking, I'm sure Bees would do like a camp or a clinic for the kids. He's, there's things he's been part of in the past. Devin does it too. Devin works for the academy. So like these guys, they're involved.
Muhammad and Devin, I think, team up pretty often too to do camps.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised to see any of these guys come back in some capacity officially with the club at some point. But
yeah. And even if you have like one player, like if Bees were to distance himself from the club, one, I wouldn't blame him. Live your life. But two, that's one out of countless that have retired after spending multiple seasons with us, or left after spending multiple seasons with us. I mean, Bees left and came back after half a season. He missed it so much. Mm-hmm. Then you have Dev, who's always around. Salih, Azira, Estrada. I mean, a ton of players stick around here. And like you said, it just goes to show the familia aspect of this club. And hopefully we see more of that on Wednesday with fans showing out on a weeknight during school now. But hopefully we can get some fans in the seats, and then the team come in and take care of business and ride the wave of that second half against Indy.
Yeah, the crowd's going to be a big factor on Wednesday. You talk about school being back in, officially the first full week of school for most APS kids. My boys are both in their second week of school. But yeah, I mean, it's obviously going to be a factor on Wednesday. You want the guys to come back. I mentioned, last week, is the lab still a fortress? It's been a bit of a question now that we've lost 2 in a row there. What can we recover a bit of that momentum at home? And the crowd absolutely plays a part of that. Tulsa's inconsistency, particularly the way that they play on the road, 3, 4, and 3. You look, what they've done recently, trying to make sure I've got the right information up here. So,
well, I think they struggle in the midfield, especially when teams are pressing. And so if we're playing quill ball and we're pressing the way we like to, it's, it bodes well for us, hopefully.
Kelly, I'll get to that in just a minute. Yeah, I mean, Tulsa, their last 2 away matches, they beat San Antonio FC. Sorry, Robert and Harry. Then they drew at Monterey Bay back on July 13th. So their away record has been, and then they lost the week prior to that to Colorado. So 1-1-1 of the last 3 road matches. They're not a very high-powered club by any stretch of the imagination. Yes, they brought in Philip Goodrum from Lou City, but Goodrum really hasn't been Goodrum. He's not doing the same things he was that year, and that goes to the play out of the midfield. They're not creating chances. They're not opening up opportunities. And when you transfer away a guy like Justin Portillo, that's going to have a massive impact on what they do, because we saw it when Justin was here. He was a chance creator. He could drive that ball, through the midfield and create opportunities. But it's, I think we'll see Zico on Wednesday. I think we'll see Marco a bit more. It's so we're gonna have a very solid midfield on Wednesday. I think that's a great spot to point out right there. So, all right. Do we have anything more in depth we want to get into with the FC Tulsa before we give our predictions? No. Okay, Christina, we'll start with you.
Well, in the group chat, Earl said that he thinks Alex is about past due for a clean sheet, and I agree. So I'm going to say 1-0.
1-0. All right. Earl went 2-0. Jacob?
I'll go 3-0, just for conformity's sake. I think we do get a clean sheet. I think Tulsa it's just not a team that really scares me coming in here, which typically when that happens is when I should be scared, but I don't learn my lesson. And so I will continue to think that we should be able to handle them pretty easily. Like you mentioned, Goodrum is their biggest name attacking threat. They have a few others. Stojanovic is over there. Milo Yosef is over there. They've performed well, but they're not world beaters. They're not Lou City. It's not even the attacking talent that I think like Indy 11 has. And so clean sheet sounds really good to me, unless we give up some stupid fluky goal. But I don't think we do that. I hope to see Herbert back in the 18. He's missed a few matches here lately, and I don't know what's going on there. He seems healthy. I know it might have been you, Christina, say that he had a death in the family a few weeks ago when he missed that first one. So maybe it's just something related to that. But I hope he's doing well, both physically and mentally, and comes back and can perform either Wednesday or Saturday for that matter, because we definitely need some rotation there in that back line over the next 2 matches with 3 matches in 7 days. And so, but I think we come around, we get some results, we get some goals, and I'll say 3-0. And I think Brucey gets a brace. I think the soccer gods will shine on him for doing a bunch of stuff that he doesn't get credit for. And in front of these home fans, he'll get a couple chances to celebrate.
Jacob, I'm gonna steal a line from you.
Oh no. Oh yes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go.
4-0 against FC Tulsa. I mean, back at the lab, I think there's some momentum. I think the guys recognize it's time to make a statement. And on Wednesday night, we set the all-time record for club wins in a season. We're currently even on that with 13. One more win gives us a new club single season record for wins. I think we do it. I think this is a Tulsa team that is quite beatable. And this is going to sound crazy, but I'm going to say Hursty with a hat trick.
Nice. So if you're listening and you're in the vicinity of Las Vegas, go bet on Tulsa, because if we're all predicting shutouts of different varieties, then we're doomed, I think. But no, I still feel confident it's going to be a good one.
In the meantime, before we jump to Saturday, tomorrow night there is another match that we need to be keeping our eye on. At 8:30 p.m. start, Sac Republic hosts El Paso.
Ooh.
Who are we cheering for?
A draw, a scoreless draw.
A
A
scoreless
boring 0-0 match.
draw. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, to be fair, a little brother win helps us quite a
But
bit.
it 100% does. I won't be upset if El Paso wins, but I don't want them to win 2 in a row. I don't want their fans to have hope. And so I would much rather a draw. And honestly, if Sac gets points, then that's fine. The race for first place is going to come down to back-to-back matches against Sacramento in September. That's what it's going to boil down to. No, really, no matter. I mean, we could get a big enough cushion that it might not matter starting on Wednesday, but at the end of the day, even if El Paso wins and we win, and then we beat Monterey and Sacramento loses again, but then we lose both to Sacramento in September, even if we're still in first place, I'm not going to be happy. So to me, it comes down to those 2 matches for how I'm feeling going into the playoffs. Obviously, there's a lot that factors into it, but specifically us versus Sacramento, it's going to come down to those head-to-head matches to me. And regardless of what happens tomorrow night, I'll be looking forward to those.
Quickly, one more thing. With El Paso's win, they are now 8 points clear of Miami FC for the Wooden Spoon. I think a better way to phrase this: does Miami FC squarely control the Wooden Spoon?
Yeah. I mean, at this point, I think they're gunning for it.
Okay.
I think they want it. I saw over on Twitter, there's some USL news that we might touch on later if we've got time. But basically, it's Lexington SC. I don't remember. Yep. From League One will be joining USL Championship next year, along with Brooklyn. And so I saw our buddies over at Raisin Acre had a little map that was showing what they thought the divisions might be, and it kicked Birmingham over from the east to the west. And Kaler was very much not sure how to feel about that. But then he also brought up a good point of, well, first we have to see if Miami survives. And so, so that just shows us the state of Miami, the Miami FC right now. It's not pretty. And I feel bad because they started off like kind of frisky for a few matches there to start the season, and they have just been absolutely terrible. And the good news is I think we still get to play them. So that'll be nice.
Well, even if the Miami FC doesn't survive, if OKC Energy returns, there may not be a need for Birmingham Legion to be kicked out west. And honestly, I think there are teams closer.
There's not.
I liked what John Morrissey had proposed on Twitter.
I did not see John's yet.
So he proposed 3 conferences. A west, a south, and a north.
I'm not convinced NOLA's coming, but
yeah,
west, the south, and the north.
That's
yeah. So the cutoff would be so El Paso, us, Colorado Springs, and then the south would be Tulsa, Memphis, Birmingham, North Carolina, and
San Antonio.
Below. Yeah, and San Antonio. Yeah.
I'll have to go check that out. I'm not convinced of the 3 conference thing because of the way American sports like their playoff setup. And so that could be interesting unless I don't know how they would do that. But yeah, so we'll see what happens there. Miami is clearly in the driver's seat for the Wooden Spoon and possibly even beating Hartford's record of least points in a season from last year. We'll have to see.
Yeah, looking at the list that I've seen here of future clubs, and Brooklyn FC is on the list, obviously, now with Lexington SC coming up in 2025. Other clubs that are, at least according to this website here, according to Wikipedia.
Well, I think New Orleans is 2026, which Justin?
I thought they'd announced 2025, but they've made there's been no movement whatsoever for USL NOLA. So, Sporting Jacksonville, maybe, I don't know. Milwaukee, USL Arkansas have all been talked about. 2025, 2026 range. Buffalo, 2026 potentially. USL Pro Iowa and USL Palm Beach. So I don't know. I mean, I think you have to develop more Western teams instead of just allowing teams to keep popping up on the East Coast in order to keep it equally, a bit more fair from a travel standpoint. But I don't know. We'll see what happens, but that's in the future. We'll probably have a lot to talk about over the offseason when it comes to these future teams. But there is one more match this weekend, and that is Monterey Bay. We've already faced Monterey Bay once this season. Monterey took the win out at Cardinale Stadium by 1-0 over us. Jacob, you know that there have been some changes over at the Monterey Bay clubhouse. What's going on over there?
Yeah, so they lost they got rid of their coach a couple weeks ago. Mm-hmm. Shortly after that, actually today, I believe it was, one of their star midfielders, Rafael Baca. I say Baca. I think they pronounce it different, but when I read it, I say Baca. He mutually parted ways with the club, which I just want to go back 2 weeks, right? And in our previews for the match coming up, I have mentioned like 3 names in a row now that I've been like, yeah, this is my guy to watch. And then he's not even on the team sheet. And so fast forward to this week, the Union Report, Monterey Bay fan podcast, reached out to us on Twitter and asked me to fill out some questionnaires that they had and type up some answers and send it back to them for them to put on the blog. And so one of the questions was, looking at Monterey Bay's roster, what player gives you most pause for concern and why? And who is mine, guys? So
it's the Jacob curse.
What I'm going to start doing is just the best player on the other team. Like Tulsa, it's Philip Goodrum. Philip Goodrum has been a thorn in our side multiple times. And so he's my player to watch for Tulsa. And so
make that prediction. He won't be there.
And so that's what I'm hoping for, because that's just what it seems to be right now. And so Baca was one of my guys to watch in that article, and now he's not only will he not be on the team sheet, he is no longer even on the team going forward. So you're welcome the rest of the Western Conference, depending on where he lands. And so a few changes there. They've been up and down. I mean, stop me if you've heard this before, but the West is just wildly inconsistent. And FC Tulsa and Monterey Bay are no exceptions to that rule. Monterey Bay was as close, or was as high as, I think, second at one point for a while.
They were getting close.
And they're just up and down. So you look at their last 5, they've got 1 win, 2 draws, and 2 losses. A lot of Eastern Conference opponents there. 4 of those 5 came against the East, which we've talked about a lot lately. The East is just better than the West this year, and there's no way around that. Even if you go back to their previous 5, they had the win against us, they had a win against Oakland, and then they had losses to Sacramento, North Carolina, and Colorado Springs. And so just no consistency whatsoever. They've lost 2 of their last 3, with the other one being a draw against Rowdies back on August 3rd. So their inconsistency, if their inconsistency stays consistent, they're due for a good game. But after losing to them the way we did, that is the match that we missed 2 PKs. Mm-hmm. And so after losing that way in a game that I felt we definitely should have won and we were the better team, I do not see us taking them lightly and letting them come into our house and try to get back in better form.
Yeah, this is one of those. Yeah, you mentioned the missed PKs in that match, and obviously, we talked to coach after that one, and we saw what happened when they gave the PKs to talent. So changes have been made. I think we've been perfect on PKs since then.
No, we missed another one after that.
Did we? Which one?
Oh, I don't know. I'll look it up. You can keep talking.
Okay. But I mean, we've certainly, changed our approach to PK since then. We've been better, for the most part since then. I think we've performed better in a number of different matches. And like you said, Monterey's played against a handful of Eastern Conference, and we know how that is. I think there's a slight possibility of a trap on Saturday. Simply because Monterey is, I think they're inconsistent, but I think they're better inconsistent than Tulsa is. But it's not by much. I think they're more talented than Tulsa, and I think they can be a bit more dangerous for us this week. So I don't think we can realistically. You can't overlook anybody. But this is one that I am slightly concerned about, particularly coming on the heels of at the very end of 7 or 3 and 7 days. Even with altitude, #drink. I think it's going to be tough because we've seen them play hard against the rest of the West. I think they've had some opportunities that they wish they had converted more. But yeah, this one's tough. I have a hard time.
Well, they're going to have that new coach sparkle too, like that unknown factor of having a new coach and change in formations or which players get minutes. So I feel like that's going to be something we have to look out for.
Did I miss an announcement? Because I don't know that they have, or maybe it's just they named someone interim, right?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure. So no, they just named Jordan Stewart. They just named
right.
That's right. So Jordan Stewart, former English professional footballer, spent time playing for Leicester City, Bristol Rovers, Watford, Derby County, Sheffield, and towards the end of his career, he played for the San Jose Earthquakes and Phoenix Rising. So he comes in, he's, as far as I can tell, he doesn't have a lot of managerial, much of a managerial background. He did work as an assistant coach for the San Jose Earthquakes for their reserve side, and that's about it. So I don't know. I mean, the new coach bounce could be a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? But even then, they've got to get used to the new coach. They got to adapt. He's got to come with tactics. I think you may see something like a 4-4-2 out of them just to get out there and play some football and try to do something with it. But anything else on Monterey Bay? Because Josh has got a great question over there too. We've still got to get back to Kelly's thing from a minute ago.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm good.
Yep.
All right, Jacob, prediction for Saturday.
2-1.
2-1. Okay.
That's what I was going to say.
3-1.
I think their number 9 is going to score. I think he's all over the place, and I mean the goal that he had against who did they play? Birmingham. That first time just seems just like a real confident player.
Yeah.
Traeger or Dixon?
Traeger, yeah.
Traeger, yeah.
I'll say it. I'll say 2-0. I think we got this one in the bag on Saturday. I think Quill's going to do just enough rotation throughout the week to make sure that we've got fresh legs for Saturday. I would not be surprised, and I have no inside information on this. I would not be surprised if we see a signing. So, yeah, I would not be surprised. So, but yeah, that like I said, 2-0. So on Saturday to close out the homestand and put some distance between us and Sacramento. And this actually, after this week, this will put us level on matches with Sacramento. So getting those points would be a good thing to have.
They don't play Saturday then?
Nope. They do not play on Saturday. So double checking. Yeah, no, they don't play on Saturday. San Antonio, Orange County do, Tulsa, pretty much everybody else. But yeah, Sac is off on Saturday. So yeah, there's our predictions. We already kind of talked about the clubs that are potentially joining the league over the next couple of seasons. I want to go back to Kelly's point. Kelly, ready for our retired players to form a team for the soccer tournament. So fun fact, they actually almost had one 2 years ago. The club was very, very close to putting one together. However, the dates of that aligned with Devin Sandoval night. And Devin was going to be a part of it. So they didn't want to overlap and mess with that. So it's definitely something the club is entertaining. I've had conversations with a number of different folks that have said that it is something that they are interested in doing. So
I would travel to go support them and see that, because that tournament was so fun to watch.
It really was. It's a really neat thing. I never really got into the basketball tournament. But yeah, watching watching our guys do the, because Kevon played this year too, and that was just a lot of fun to see those guys back out there and having some fun. So I think it would be absolutely great. So, to the other thing, Josh with Leagues Cup. Yes, a number of different supporters groups are in fact trying to boycott Leagues Cup. So, some fans are against the boycotts. Some fans are for the boycotts. Some of it has to do with Open Cup. Some of it has to do with, significant increases in season ticket prices. I know from following Atlanta United that their season ticket prices shot up quite a bit, and the supporters groups are not happy about it. So they worked out something with the front office, but yeah, they were boycotting for a couple different reasons. So no, there's absolutely a thing going on, which is a shame because I watched the Sounders match against Pumas the other day. That was fun. That was a fun one. You got kind of chippy at the end, but that's just the way it is. So
if I say that I'm boycotting, that's a tongue twister there. If I'm boycotting, I don't know. Can I still say that I'm boycotting it? If I'm boycotting, it's a riddle, guys. It's a riddle. I understand the premise. I understand that Open Cup, part of why Open Cup was neglected by MLS was schedule congestion. Part of that schedule congestion is this new Leagues Cup.
It's their own damn fault.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, like as we've talked about before, I'm a big LAFC fan. Shout out Josh. And Bogush and Bawanga and the others that are actually playing on the field had seemingly nothing to do with the Open Cup being a thing. Like, and I look at like LAFC in particular, they've played starters through every round of the Open Cup that they've been involved in so far. And they definitely seem like they are going for this trophy, just like they're going to go for the Leagues Cup trophy, and they're going to go for the USL Cup and the Supporters Shield and everything like that. And so, to me, I'm still going to watch them. If I was in LA, I would still be going to the matches because I'm supporting my club, even though a USL club is where my whole heart is. And part of supporting a USL club is supporting the Open Cup because it's such an awesome venue or an awesome way for us to be on a stage. It kind of put New Mexico United on a map in 2019 when we made the quarterfinals, another quarterfinal run this year. And so I hold a special place in my heart for Open Cup, but I'm still going to be like, nah, like I'm going to root for my guys that I root for week in and week out during MLS. And I get that some USL supporters aren't MLS fans at all. They think it's the devil. I understand. I don't blame you for that. I just ask that when I say I'm going to go to an LAFC match and watch Leagues Cup, you guys don't try to burn me at the stake. That's all I want.
I'm not anti-MLS. I'm anti-Don Garber.
For sure.
That's what I'm against. The rules are so antiquated and backwards, and it's just I can't say homogenizes it, because every single entity owned league is just a terrible idea. Mm-hmm. Give the teams a straight salary cap and be done with it. None of this, every player is owned by the league. None of this, Gam, Tam, Ham, Lamb, DPs, at Project Adidas or Generation Adidas, but just give a straight roster. Give a set schedule. If you want to take MLS and do some sort of collaboration with League MX, fine, do it. But then don't complain and dip out of the longest running national tournaments, simply because you put yourself in a position where you expanded your playoffs into a stupid system. You congested your own schedule with Leagues Cup. You've done all these things to hurt the league itself, to hurt the growth of soccer. And people are, it's just what people are posting pictures of matches without Messi in it. Well, no shit. If Messi is not there, no, people are not going to show up.
Can I make a small argument that for devil's advocate for one of the things that you just said there?
Sure.
Does Leagues Cup do more to grow the game of soccer in America than Open Cup? Because you're bringing in these proven entities in Tigres and Pumas and Monterrey and all these big clubs that have much bigger fan bases than New Mexico United, even though New Mexico United has a huge fan base. It's clubs that are way bigger. You're getting way more eyeballs on the sport in America. And when Open Cup is, when the quarterfinal is LAFC versus New Mexico United, and we have multiple people from LAFC's fan base that are coming up to us while we're there saying, yeah, we had no idea who you guys were, but you guys showed out. That to me there's an argument to be made that doesn't do as much as Tigres coming in and playing LAFC in LA. Just an argument. So I don't know what's right or wrong.
So to that, I think the idea of playing against clubs like Tigres and Puma and Club America and all that, I think what it does is I think you open the door to a wider set of eyes on those matches than you do the Open Cup. However, I think in terms of growth of U.S. soccer as a whole, I think that Don Garber and MLS and some have shut the door for the most part on growth and development of players and soccer within the U.S. and developing talent at home than other leagues have around the world.
Well, so to me, there's
two completely different things.
Yeah, there's two conversations when it comes to growing the game. Are you growing the game by getting more eyeballs on it, or are you trying to grow the game by getting more people to play it? And I argue that getting more eyeballs on it is going to lead to more people playing. The problem that we have with soccer as far as getting kids to play and access to high quality training, the Leagues Cup has nothing. MLS has very little to do with that. And it's the pay to play system from top to bottom that doesn't pertain to any of what we're talking about when it comes to boycotting Leagues Cup and everything else. It is a broken system from the bottom of it all the way to the top. And to me, Leagues Cup and the Open Cup not being MLS's priority and all that stuff, that's more of a growing the game in the sense of getting eyeballs on it that people are trying to make that argument. And so I'm very much on the side that I would much rather see the Open Cup succeed over Leagues Cup. That like, don't get it twisted that I'm making an argument for Leagues Cup over Open Cup. I'm not. I'm just saying that the arguments that I'm hearing from the people that are pro Open Cup and anti Leagues Cup, a lot of them are not pertinent to the information or pertinent to the actual ability to grow the game of soccer in America. And it's more, I'm mad at MLS for doing this money grab and leaving this legacy behind, which is where I am at. And that is, I'm upset about that. But that has nothing to do with growing the game of soccer in America. First of all, the game is, I think, growing pretty steadily in America when I look at the amount of eyeballs on it from 10 years ago to now. And if you look at the amount of people that I think are playing the game, like New Mexico United did a lot for me for that, because I think it, and the state of New Mexico, not just with the academy and the U23s and everything like that, but like I've got a buddy from 2019 that I started talking to after a few matches, and then I actually went and played indoor soccer with him a couple of times. Something that I'd never done. I hadn't touched a soccer ball since I was like 5, and I hated it back then. And so this big picture of MLS or US soccer, that's not what's going to grow the game, and that's not what's going to fix this system of getting the best players playing. It's the pay to play, and it's at the grassroots level, like what New Mexico United is doing. And if a bunch of New Mexico United start doing what New Mexico United is doing, that's going to do way more to grow the game of soccer in America than Leagues Cup versus Open Cup versus CONCACAF Champions League and all these other things.
Well, and yes, to an extent, you are correct. Like, yes, clubs doing what we've done and making it more accessible is absolutely, one of the right ways to do it. I think that's the start to it. Okay. I think that you need to open up, and MLS needs to again, get rid of their antiquated model of doing things and open the doors. And MLS is so against that. That's where that's where the biggest step is. That's where the biggest barrier is, because MLS is so unwilling to give up any form of control or give teams the opportunity to get their way in without paying an exorbitant fee. So to Josh here real quick, MLS, in respect to the MLS clubs that stayed and are filling first team players. So they did not choose to stay. They were the top teams in MLS last year. That's why they were put into Open Cup. So it wasn't that it's not like they opted to stay into it. They were told they had to, because MLS opted to send, I think it was at the top 8 teams.
I don't think that's how it was.
Yeah, I thought it was each team decided.
I don't remember if it was each team or not, but I have to look and see who's in there. But I don't feel like the top 8 teams were the ones that were left in it, because Columbus didn't play in it, and they were up there, if I'm remembering correctly. And so
the 8 MLS teams that qualified for the 2024 CONCACAF Champions Cup did not participate, and the next 7 highest clubs from MLS based on the rankings did.
Okay.
Yeah.
So kind of, sort of.
It
wasn't
so
the best
they were
teams,
yeah.
But it was the next kind of tier down.
They were told that they had to. So.
But
well, I'm
rooting
rooting for LAFC to win them all. Yeah. Just because I feel like they put their best foot forward in all of those open cut matches.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I just have a lot of respect for that club after what we experienced in LA.
I mean, I think I'd have Indy 1, just because I think it'd be cool for a USL team to win it. But if an MLS team is going to win it, then yes, LAFC is the one there. Yeah, that was a tangent I was not expecting to go down. Thank you, I think, Josh, because I think it led to a fun conversation. But definitely was not thinking we were going to be touching on that today.
Yeah. All right. Well, does anybody have anything else before we get out of here?
I just want to say Kelly is my sister.
Oh,
I knew that.
And
okay.
I do want to. I am remiss if I did not say agree with her that it's her 50th birthday Saturday.
Oh,
So best present for 50th birthday is a solid clean sheet, good solid win, 3 points.
nice.
There we go.
Well, happy early birthday, Kelly, because I probably won't see you on Saturday. But yeah, that's exciting.
Yep, exciting indeed. So happy birthday from all of us. All right. Well, if there's nothing else, Jacob, get us out of here.
I'm gonna shout out Marlena, not Earl, because I know Marlena made the decision to let Earl do that, and so shout out you, Marlena, and the baby. I'm not gonna say the baby's name. I'm gonna let Earl say the baby's name, and I don't think he did earlier, and I don't know if they want that out there, so I'm not gonna put out their business. But thank you to them for coming on and showing her off for us. It's a big deal there. There's been. I think that's the second baby born. Well, no, Xander wasn't. Yeah, so second, because Xander was born in 2019. We hadn't started the pod yet, so that's the second baby Somos Mas there. And then of course everybody in the chat, Kelly, Josh, Justin, who else was over there? Christian, of course, yes. I think that might have been it.
My mom just popped in.
Is that your mom?
She's RMG.
Oh,
That's my mom.
yes. Yes. Oh,
I got the whole fam in here tonight.
I love Christina's mom, guys. She is awesome. We became really good friends in LA there, and just the sweetest lady. And knowing Christina and Kelly, Kelly I've only met I think twice now, but knowing Christina, getting to know Christina the last few weeks, like, doesn't surprise me. The apple doesn't fall very far from the tree there, and so thank all of you guys for being a part of it. And again, thanks Seth and Christina for taking the time out of their busy schedules to come give what is constantly supposed to be an hour, but is constantly an hour and a half of their Tuesday nights to come on here and talk about a team and sport that we love and hold very close to our hearts. So thank you guys so much. We will be back next Tuesday at 8:00. Another 2-week match at the lab. So get out there tomorrow night and Saturday night and support them, cheer them on. I think we fell behind Lou City in the average attendance. So let's get that back up there, put New Mexico on the map for positive things. And we will see you guys next Tuesday. And until then, somos niños.